Hi everyone, welcome to Aftermath TV. Caroline here by myself because Anthony Corelli isn't here, but that's okay. Have no fear. Jimmy and Nug save the day. You guys like what I did there?
I like it. You're like an island to yourself over there. But I get to sit near Jimmy now. This is pretty cool.
We get to talk to each other now.
And you guys are wearing nice, vibrant colors.
So yeah, it's springtime, right?
Yeah. Mr. Perfect.
Little Mr. Perfect right there.
Yeah. People call this coral.
Okay.
Yes.
Coral.
Pink,
Yes.
coral, it's all the same thing. Okay, guys, lots to talk about on this show, but let's start with some exciting news from two powerful female superstars.
Can you be Raw Women's Champion?
And I hope so, but only time will tell.
Girl, there ain't nothing better than the present.
What do you mean?
I have an obligatory title defense at Money in the Bank, and I'm challenging you.
That's a huge honor, and I appreciate that, but I've only had one match, and I think there's a lot of other women that deserve that title shot before me.
That might be the case, but I'm not challenging them. I'm challenging you.
Do it. Do it. Oh, this is quite unexpected, but I accept a challenge.
That's right. Here we go.
This is going to be good.
Girl, there ain't nothing like the present. What do we think about this?
Interesting. I think, in my opinion, it's a little early for Ronda Rousey to be challenging for the WWE Women's Championship, the Raw side, of course. I mean, there is a precedence. I mean, we saw Paige come in on her first night on the main roster and actually win the title. This is different because Paige was a seasoned in-ring performer. Ronda Rousey is still little green, let's say.
She's had one match.
One match. You know, I just think it's too soon. And it should have been saved. Her first opportunity, championship opportunity, should have been saved for a bigger stage, like a SummerSlam or even a WrestleMania.
Yeah, she's had one match, and I like that it's Nia challenging her, because Nia, of course, wants the most competition possible. But the thing that stuck out to me was Nia saying she has an obligatory defense of her title. And then we always complain that Brock Lesnar isn't defending his title. There's different rules for these titles, and they all used to have to be defended within 30 days, as you know.
Yeah.
And so here's her 30-day title defense, and she chooses Ronda Rousey. The other thing I laughed at was Charlotte going, do it. First of all, Ronda's not going to say no. You're handing her, I'm the champion, I'd like to fight you. Nah, no thanks. That's not going to happen. She's going to go for it. Is she ready? Probably not.
I don't know. I agree with you guys. I think it's too soon. It's almost weird for me because I'm not ready to see Ronda win because I agree the stage isn't big enough, but I'm also not ready to see her lose. So I'm just not really liking this situation. Props to Nia for wanting to take on Ronda. I do like that. But we see Nia, who is a big advocate of body positivity, and then we see Ronda, who's hugely popular in WWE. Where do you guys think the universe is going to stand with this matchup?
Well, I think the universe is going to side with Nia because I think the universe will recognize that it's too soon for Ronda to have this title
Even though they booed her the other night?
Even though they booed her the other
Yeah,
night.
because a lot of people in the WWE universe, especially the vocal minority, as we like to call them, they kind of like their own. They kind of view Ronda Rousey as an outsider coming into their world. So they don't like that. As much as they respect her and her abilities, they don't like outsiders coming in and taking over the spotlight over those that they feel are more deserving.
So we predict Nia winning.
Well, it is at Money in the Bank. If the women's Money in the Bank match happens before this, who's to say the winner of that won't cash in? We just watched Carmella walk around with that briefcase for a year. I don't want to see that again, but I'd love to see whoever wins it cash in on the winner of this.
I don't remember if it's ever happened before where the cash-in happened on the same night.
I think Kane did it.
Yes, you're right.
long time
I think
ago.
that would be an amazing twist because it'd be sort of unpredictable. Well, now that you guys mentioned it, it would be predictable. But before you did, I didn't guess that would happen.
That's why we're here.
Would a loss like that hurt Ronda or no? Like she still has a ways to climb.
It all depends on how the loss happens. If it happens like with some outside interference, and a lot of it, because Ronda Rousey has been established as the baddest woman on the planet right now. So for her to lose, it would have to be something egregious happening for her to lose.
Well, not only that, but this match features Ronda, who has fought a lot of MMA fighters, against someone like Nia Jax. She's never been in a match with anyone like Nia Jax. So we don't know what's going to happen. There is a total possibility of her losing this match, and I think that's where the the intrigue lies.
All right, let's move on to the women's Money in the Bank match, which I'm really excited about. Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss have punched their ticket into the match. What do we think about this match going forward?
I'm curious, was it announced how many women? Is it going to be 8, just like the men?
I don't know if it's going to be 8, maybe 6, who knows? But we've got Ember Moon, Charlotte, and now Alexa Bliss.
And I'm so excited about Ember Moon. I think she did so well at NXT. I think that this would be a really cool platform for her to win. I don't think she will. I am very excited for her to do the Eclipse off the ladder, which I think is going to come.
probably.
I just think she's very athletic and very skilled, and I think that I'm excited to see her going. So
Yeah, it's interesting because the women are constantly raising the bar.
Yes.
And last year we had our first ever women's Money in the Bank match. I think this one's going to elevate that bar even more. See, it's always been a challenge, especially on the men's side, because there's been so many TLC matches, Money in the Bank matches, ladder matches, and their challenge was constantly evolving and raising the bar without doing the least amount of physical damage, which doesn't happen anyways, because in those matches it's going to happen.
Yeah, and there was a whole bunch of ladies in that women's Money in the Bank match last year that won't be in it this year. Carmella won it last year. She's the champion. She's not going to be in it this year. So it's a whole new batch of ladies and a whole new match that can happen around
you
it.
guys mentioned that the roster for the women's side is stacked, and I completely agree. Do we ever have an opportunity of maybe seeing an all-women's event one day?
Maybe. I think when we get, if it ever happens that we get ladies tag team titles again.
Which I feel like should be happening.
Could be.
Yeah.
There are a lot of titles right now. But if they ever get ladies tag team titles plus the 2 women's championships, I think why not? There's a lot going on with just the women that they could have their own show, if not their own event.
Yeah, I think it's a natural progression. I think it was going to happen regardless. I know everybody talks about the event in Saudi Arabia being an all-male affair.
Right.
And should the women have their own women-specific pay-per-view or event. I think it was coming anyways. I just don't want people to think that it's going to happen in a direct response to the all-male event in Saudi Arabia, and that's the only reason why they're doing it. It was going to happen anyways.
Right. Jimmy, you mentioned Saudi Arabia, which brings up my next question for you guys. There's been so much travel for these superstars recently. WrestleMania really wasn't that long ago. We saw them go to Saudi Arabia, South Africa, Europe. Then they had Backlash pay-per-view. We've seen some injuries. Alexa Bliss, apparently hurt her left shoulder. We saw her on Monday Night Raw, but she still could have been competing injured. Charlotte Flair, her teeth, ruptured breast implant. How hard is it for these superstars to compete with such a rigorous travel schedule?
It is difficult, especially nowadays, because I remember what we used to do is like the week before WrestleMania, you did your live events, then you did television, and you went straight to the city that WrestleMania was being hosted in. There was a week-long events and stuff going on. Then you did WrestleMania, and then after WrestleMania, you're off to Europe for the European tour for 2 weeks. Yeah. This is the similar. They did WrestleMania, they did South Africa, Saudi Arabia, back to Jersey, now back to the UK. It does take a toll on the body.
It's insane.
It's between jet lag and the physical exhaustion.
Time difference,
And
competing,
I've been on the
everything.
road across Canada in a van for doing some comedy.
hard.
And I'm not comparing it to world travel,
No,
but
but
I'm
that's
saying
hard.
when you're in a van or traveling with the same bunch of people for a bunch of weeks in a row in the same confined location, and you don't get a break from anybody, you don't get any time for yourself, you just have to work and work and work and work. Eventually something's going to give, and if it's not your body, it's going to be your brain.
And it has to be stressful for these superstars because it was rumored that Charlotte Flair, her breast implant ruptured before Mania, and she competed and she has continuously competed. It's got to be hard to turn that off switch on and be like, okay, I need to stop, but you don't want to because this is your profession. It's what you love to do.
And if you stop and you go away for a bit, you lose your momentum.
Yes.
People forget about you. It's tough to let that go.
And it's tough to get back into the groove from a physical standpoint because Arn Anderson always used to say back in the day when you're wrestling, 300 days a year, your body becomes accustomed to taking that punishment every day. And once you take that time away from it, now your body is recouping and getting that nice feeling of not taking those bumps every night, and you have to get back into taking that physical
Jimmy,
punishment.
quickly, if you're an Alexa Bliss and you hurt your left shoulder, how do you get back into competing? Are there certain things that these wrestlers or superstars do to get back in the ring?
Well, today it's a lot different from back in the day because there's all these different, methods of recuperation, and they can recuperate while they're still wrestling. You just got to be careful how you do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You got to take it easy. Seth Rollins, it took him a long time to come back and be back, but look at him now.
But then again, if you're overly cautious, that's sometimes when worse accidents happen
kidding.
or injuries.
Well, that's why these superstars deserve a lot of credit because they are constantly on the road competing and they make it all work. We have to go to break right now, but when we're back, we continue to talk about Money in the Bank. 6 out of the 8 male superstars have qualified to the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. That means 2 are left to qualify, 2 big open slots. Who do you guys think will take them, and who are we most excited to see in this ladder match?
Well, as of right now, we don't know who's it. Nothing's been announced before SmackDown. Anything can happen. So for us, we don't know who's on it. For me, I'd like to see Kofi Kingston get into that match. He's been there a long time. He hasn't really ever had a shot at the Heavyweight Championship. I would love to see him get a shot at that title.
And he's very creative.
And he's
in this
creative
type
with
of
the ladders and stuff. I love Kofi, and it's time.
I want to see, like, as much as I like the established stars in matches like this, I also like to see at least one breakout guy, a guy that I'm really high on and still hasn't had an opportunity on SmackDown, Ty Dillinger.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I'd like to see Ty Dillinger get in this match and not necessarily win it, but at least make a mark and make a statement in this one.
I want to see Finn Balor win this because I feel like there could be so many storylines for the future if he wins, and I'm excited for it. And I think that he did really well on Monday Night Raw, so I hope that Finn takes that. Kind of also The Miz, but
Yeah.
just because that would be solely entertaining, but I don't
Miz
really
would be
love
fantastic.
The Yes, I
Miz
don't
would
really
be
love The
fantastic.
Miz,
And I'm
but
super happy for Rusev. It's
Yes.
the best
Of
Rusev day of
course,
all
you're a
time.
huge fan
he
of Rusev
beat
Day.
Daniel Bryan. Now, granted, Daniel Bryan's been beat up by Cass pretty hard the last couple of weeks, so I can see how Daniel might not be at 100%. But kudos to Rusev. It's Rusev Day.
I love the fact that if he does win Money in the Bank and they could ask him, when are you cashing in Money in the Bank? He's going to cash it in on Rusev Day.
Rusev
When
Day.
is Rusev Day? Every day is a Rusev Day.
Jimmy, who do you think's going to win?
I would love to see it. Who I think is going to win? Miz. I like The Miz holding the Money in the Bank match because when he was WWE Champion at WrestleMania 27 facing John Cena, I don't think he was ready for that spotlight yet. He wasn't the guy to carry the company. He's at a point in his career right now where he can be that guy to carry the company on his back.
Absolutely.
Serious question for you guys. Will Braun Strowman eat the ladder?
He'll eat the ladder, eat the briefcase, and possibly eat Miz.
I know. Okay,
Or
and speaking
Kofi.
of Miz, it's a perfect segue. He recently said that the WWE Championship should main event every event. Do you guys agree or disagree with this statement?
Ooh, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. I get where he's coming from because the WWE Championship is the biggest prize in sports entertainment. It should, be the goal that every superstar is aspiring to. That being said, in sports entertainment, your last match, your main event, should be the one that people are most interested in. And sometimes the championship is not what people are most interested in.
Okay.
Case in point, the Undertaker streak, for example. For years, that's what people were more invested in than the WWE Championship. So now there's the conundrum. Do you close the show with the Undertaker streak on the line, or do you close it with the championship?
It's hard because I agree with everything you just said about The Undertaker, but I also think no one person is above the company. So I think if your top prize in the company is the title, that's the finale. That's the culmination of your entire event, ends with the big prize. Right. Now, I totally agree with the Undertaker thing because I think the Undertaker as an attraction is maybe a little bit above the title, especially with that streak because it's been going for so long. But I think the title goes on last.
Yeah, but the Undertaker is an exception to the rule, of course, and you have certain superstars that I don't want to say that we're bigger than the title, but are just maybe on the same level.
So what could be done to elevate the importance of a title?
Put it on last. Put it on last where it traditionally has gone.
That would emphasize the point that this is the main event of every show. But then again, when your champion isn't there more than half the time,
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to have that
full
championship
circle.
on last.
Nug, you kind of answered this earlier in the show, but are there too many titles?
There are a ton of titles, and there's always little polls online. Which title would you like to see come back? And people are like the hardcore title, or the European title, or the TV title. There's so many titles now. I'd like to see tag titles for the ladies because I don't think the ladies only having 2 titles while the men have so many is a little off balance. But I think there's enough. Right now.
And going back to the hardcore championship, I think that is passé. I don't have a desire to see people
I don't wanna
crashing each
see
other
anybody
with
get
garbage
hurt.
cans and
Guys,
and
I like the
cookie sheets.
hardcore. Remember from a previous? I like
yeah,
the
you-
hardcore championship because I am hardcore.
Yeah, she's hardcore.
Oh yeah, that's right. You are.
But it would be fun to see tag team title for the women's.
I think so.
And especially
Absolutely.
now with the Iconics, I feel like they bring a breath of fresh air. I think that it hopefully will come with WWE in time.
Yep.
so.
I totally agree.
All right, guys, when we're back, an interesting interview from WrestleMania 34. I'm not going to tell you who it's with, but you're going to want to stay around for this one.
Oh, a teaser.
One of my favorite dynamic duos from the WWE just lost on Monday Night Raw to the B Team, giving them their first win, but that's okay because they proved to be nothing but entertaining and fun to watch. Ladies and gentlemen, my interview with the Fashion Police.
Ooh.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Fashion Police. And guys, I gotta be honest with you, I was expecting a little bit more.
It's gonna start like this. I knew
How?
I could see the judgment in your eyes.
Oh, never judge. I'm just saying, I hold you guys to
Over there, you were looking at us like,
you know,
Are
I
you
was
Canadian?
just. Yes.
I could tell.
wait, what part?
What does
part?
that mean?
What part?
Oakville, Toronto.
I
That
can
explains it.
That's a real Canadian thing to say right there.
No, dude, hey, separate Canada, separate Canada. West Coast,
It's a
awesome.
lot of land up there.
West Coast is awesome.
Have you been?
Yeah, I'm from Maine. I go up to Canada all the time to watch hockey. Yeah,
Nice. What's your favorite hockey team?
the Bruins.
Okay. How about
This
you?
interview's really not starting
I know.
yet. We come on, she in
can we
so-so
get
fashion.
can we get other
Hone in
people?
on the Canada stuff. You don't know it, man. Stay in Portland.
Oh, I don't care.
Okay, guys, I'm going to ask you 3 questions and then you answer them to the best of your ability. I call this 3 count. I know.
The team? There's a
No,
team. in
I know
there.
everyone.
Don't confuse me.
Like the pressure.
Okay, what show do you guys enjoy watching the most on the WWE network?
I like old WCW Nitros because I'm a weird old guy that lives in the past, and I like to remember. I like to remember better times when I was younger. Yeah,
You're an old soul.
I'm an old soul.
Okay, there you go.
Speaking of living in the past, I actually watch old NXT stuff of myself.
Hey, look at you guys. You know, I kind of take back my comment. You guys are growing on me.
That's a good
Okay, aside from you guys, who are the best dressed superstars in WWE?
I don't like him, but the Miz always looks really sharp. It's a sharp dress.
notch.
Sharp dressed man. Really annoying guy, but sharp. Real sharp.
But you'll give credit where credit's due, right?
Exactly.
Okay. What has been your favorite match of your career so far?
Probably Chris Jericho, WrestleMania 29 in New York, for sure.
I actually liked our tag match with the Usos because it was different, and I don't think it's ever happened where people are dressing up and, you know, doing a bunch of stuff. It was
That's
kind
my
of in a
favorite
league of
match
its
too.
own.
I forgot I'm in a tag
Whatever,
team.
man. Whatever. You're really tearing us apart with this interview.
I forgot I'm in a tag team. That was my favorite match as well.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, well, stealing answers and looking spiffy's Fashion Police. So, guys, thanks for playing the 3 count. We'll see you next time.
Thank you. I quit.
Nothing but laughs with Breezango. I swear they're super fun in the ring, outside of the ring. Aside from the New Day, that was one of my favorite interviews and superstars to hang out with. What do you guys think of them?
Well, that's funny you mentioned the New Day because Breeze and Woods are very good friends. And on Woods' Up, Up, Down, Down video game channel, they're in a very heated battle as GMs of Raw and SmackDown for Raw versus SmackDown 2006. It's a video game series they're doing, and they're trying to be the best GM and not spend the most money and get the most fans. It's really entertaining. You should check it out.
Those guys are funny. I kind of identify with Fandango a little bit, being the old soul. I will say it that way. The guy who, you know, kind of likes all the old stuff and like on the WWE Network. I love all the old stuff.
Yeah, I just watch old WCW pay-per-views and old Nitros and stuff, and that's a ton of fun. Those two guys
So you're
are
a glutton
great.
for punishment
I am a
sometimes.
glutton
Yes,
for
okay.
punishment. That's
What do you guys think of them in terms of entertainment? Like when I see them come out on Monday Night Raw in like their outfit and just their dance moves and the way they connect with the crowd, I feel like I connect with them watching through a TV. How important is that? Because I love them for that reason.
That's the main thing, and again, a lot, and I rip on the vocal minority a lot, but that's one of the things they don't understand is the WWE is like a variety show. You're going to get entertainment such as that, where these guys are having fun and being outside the box, outside of being pro wrestlers,
Right.
because it's more to being a WWE superstar than being a pro wrestler. You have to be an entertainer. And that's what these guys are doing. They're entertaining.
And they can, those vocal minority, they can cheer and boo whoever they want. But I've said it before, every single superstar on the WWE roster is somebody's favorite. There is somebody out there who is a monstrous Breezango fan. There are now people based on last night who are B-team fans. There are fans of every superstar. So somebody out there is cheering for them.
Interesting question for you guys. Why does it seem the most entertaining superstars are tag teams? The Bar, the New Day,
Because
the Fashion Police.
because, if I may, as an improviser, working by yourself is nowhere near as fun as working with someone else. The more people I have on stage with me, the more people I have to work with to bounce ideas off of, to throw lines to. They can throw lines back at me. If I'm out there by myself, I've got nobody to work with. But if I've got a buddy out there, we're having a good time together. At least if we're going down in flames, we're going down together.
And that's the main thing, a buddy. And you can see it with guys like Sheamus and Cesaro who have gravitated together and become such great chemistry together. The New Day from day one, they were like, and you can see it with Breezango, the same thing. Those tag teams, the Usos, because they're brothers, they should have that chemistry, but it's a chemistry that works.
And obviously this is scripted, but how much easier is it to improvise when you have someone next to you? Because
when you know what the other person's going to say all the time, like I know what Jimmy's going to say most of the time. So I can feed him a line that lets him have a great one-liner. He can throw one at me and lets me knock it out of the park.
It's like the Abbott and Costello thing. You need a straight man and you need the guy feeding the lines.
It's great.
We
finish each other's sandwiches.
I love it. Okay, guys, time for Ask Aftermath. And first question is, should Vince McMahon penalize or reward fans based on like where shows are going to be in what cities? If you have bad fans, should he not put a show in that city if he has good fans?
We talked about this before. If he penalized fans for booing people having a bad show in a city, then Philly would never get a show.
Yeah, Philly, Brooklyn, Chicago.
None of these places will get shows.
But you know, the thing is, they're very vocal, regardless of their reactions. They're very vocal, and they're paying their money and buying a ticket. At the end of the day, it's a business, so they're making money.
It's true.
Yeah.
And I find it comforting to know that a crowd, like I said, at WrestleMania or NXT, there was the fans that were like, boo, yay. Yeah. Didn't love it for a long, extended period of time, but I felt comfort in knowing that people are that invested into a product or a match, and I love that.
They keep going back to Corpus Christi.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, next question is, who would you like to see AJ Styles take on next? Feud with?
Outside of
Samoa Joe, The Miz.
Samoa Joe is one of those guys. I think Miz AJ would be a lot of fun. But for me, Rusev. I would love to see Rusev and AJ. It'd be a very different matchup, but the kind of thing we haven't seen a lot. And I would just like to see the monstrous Bulgarian against AJ with his quickness. I think it'd be great.
Yeah, I think for me, Samoa Joe, because they do have a past, they do have a history, and if that's any indication, both of them are better than they were then.
Let's see Joe and Rusev.
Oh, two steamrollers fighting over the same piece of pavement. Yeah.
Guys, keep sending in your question using the hashtag AskAftermath. We love answering them. Right now, enjoy the newest episode of SmackDown Live, and we'll be back here with you next week for some more Aftermath TV. Oh, the Queen's Wave.
Yeah, we're doing the wave.